Hi, this is TheHande and welcome back to Ranking a Soundtrack, and this time it's Tetris and Dr. Mario for the Super Nintendo. In this ranking, I'll be ranking all the themes from Tetris, Dr. Mario, and Mixed Match, totaling 8 tracks in all. Again, I'm only ranking the gameplay tracks and not the menu themes or the victory or loss themes or whatever. So let's get on with it. At number 8, Tetris Music C. It will probably surprise no one this ended up at the bottom of the ranking. It literally is nothing but a harpsichord loop. And don't get me wrong, I do think it's a really nice loop, but it's a little too quiet and slow to stand out in comparison to the rest of the soundtrack. And I hate to say this, it is the only theme which I think gets a bit repetitive after a while, which is not something you want in a game where the theme song is kind of expected to just keep playing over and over again. So I had no problems relegating this to the bottom of the ranking. Like I said, the melody itself is not bad at all, but this is really the least memorable of the tracks. Number 7, Mixed Match, Background Music 2. This is the second least memorable track from the game. Its biggest problem really is that it mostly just marches and plays. Although it does have these fun, silly horn sounds that I do like, and at least this song does have one distinctive element, which is that cool static effect in the middle where the melody briefly kind of fades out. That is honestly a neat little trick and makes this really stand out in comparison to Tetris Music C, but that's the problem. It's really just supposed to be a gimmick for a little bit of flavor, and it's not actually a really interesting part of the song or anything. And on top of that, I think the transition back into the beginning of the melody cycle is just a bit clumsy on this one. It is a much fuller song than Tetris Music C, but it obviously wasn't going to get much higher. At rank number 6, Mixed Match, Background Music 1. The intro on this one is also a little bit on the dumpy side, but this does have some really fun light synths which I like. And especially the end of the melody cycle has a really nice dancing melody which I like, and which is the reason I'm willing to put this above Mixed Match Background Music number 2. At rank number 5, Tetris Music B. Now this one has a really cool intro that I like, and then it immediately goes for these really dumpy horn sounds, which to me just signals that this song doesn't really know what it's trying to be. Is it trying to be cool or is it trying to be silly? And don't get me wrong, this soundtrack does have both sides covered, but this one is a bit all over the place, but I do like it better than the other songs that I've ranked up to this point. And the end of the melody cycle actually does sound really nice, so for that reason I'm willing to put it on the top spot on this half of the ranking. At number 4, Mixed Match, Background Music 3. This song has by far the most awesome beat on the entire soundtrack. I love the drum samples on this one. I also really like the light sounds and the very sparse melodic accompaniment on this one. This really is my favorite background theme to listen to when playing Mixed Match. Unfortunately, that's the reason why it can't go any higher on the list. I do love it, and that's why it had to get on the top half of the ranking, but it really is mostly just beat and almost no melody. There isn't really a song, it's really just background percussion for the most part. Still really awesome, like I said, but it was obviously never gonna get much higher. At number 3, Fever. Yes, the main Dr. Mario theme. This one just has excellent instrumentation, and the melody on this one is brilliant. I love the full cycle of this, even in the original NES version, but the Super Nintendo version does sound 10 times better. You might get the feeling like the soundtrack is a little bit gimmicky with all of its sound effects, but honestly, in the case of Fever, I do feel they actually add to the song and aren't just little flourishes to add on top of it. In Mixed Match Background Music 2, for instance, I felt that while that static effect was great, it was really the only standout part of the song, whereas here, the little static effects are just a nice little bonus and do not detract from the main melody cycle at all. By far the most complex of the songs that I've ranked up to this point, and so obviously I had to have it at number 3. At number 2, Tetris Music A. Yes, this is the classic Koro Beiniki folk song melody, but obviously slightly altered. And yes, I am aware that this is not the theme that Nintendo's version of Tetris had on the NES, but I think we all collectively agree that this is the Tetris song. It's just super classic, has really good progression, and a great loop back to the start. So what could possibly top the puzzle game anthem? At number 1, Chill from Dr. Mario. And I gotta be honest here, I do flip-flop sometimes whether or not I like Chill or Fever. Honestly, I like both. Honestly, either one could have been a good pick for number 1. But the thing that always surprises me about Chill is just how dark it is, considering it's the main theme to a silly puzzle game. But I love it. It's such a stark contrast to the game that it is put in. And honestly, it's a really cool song. The only negative that I could really hold against it, and honestly this doesn't even come to bear because I'm not ranking any of the jingles, the only thing about Chill that I don't like is that when you finish a stage, the victory theme is kind of ugly sounding by comparison to the Fever one. But as a background theme to the actual gameplay, I do prefer Chill just a little bit. And that was the ranking. Now tell me, what are your favorite songs from Tetris and Dr. Mario? Leave them in the comments down below. I'm TheHande. See you on the next one.